Part 1. The Abandonment. The doorbell rang at 4:17 p.m. on November the 12th, 2010. I remember the exact time because I wrote it down in my kitchen calendar, the same calendar I still have today. Rachel stood on my porch with a 5-year-old Ethan clutching a too light backpack. "Just for the weekend, Mum," she said, not looking at me. "I need a break." Ethan stood frozen, hands clamped over his ears even though the porch was silent. He rocked heel to toe, like a pendulum trying to find balance. Rachel didn't hug him, didn't kiss his forehead, just turned and walked to her car, tail lights disappearing down the street like disappearing stars. That first night was a nightmare. Chicken nuggets rejected. Pasta pushed away. A toothbrushing attempt that ended in screams that sounded like physical pain. At 2 a.m., I sat on my kitchen floor surrounded by burnt cookie sheets and smoke, crying over a phone call that went straight to voicemail. Ethan appeared in the doorway, watched me for 3 full minutes, then brought me the yellow plastic cup I'd given him that first day. He set it beside me without a word. That's when I knew he was already teaching me how to love him. The weeks bled into months. No calls from Rachel, no texts, nothing. I took Ethan to the pediatrician who confirmed what I suspected. "Mrs. Cooper, he's autistic. Has anyone talked to you about getting him evaluated?" "His mother was supposed to handle that," I said. The doctor nodded slowly. "Well, you're handling it now." I became a student of my own grandson. I learned his breakfast had to be identical every morning. Scrambled eggs, toast cut corner to corner, nothing touching. I learned the route to therapy had to be exactly the same, or he'd scream in the car. I learned not to touch him unless he initiated contact. Most importantly, I learned to watch instead of doing, to read his world through his patterns, not mine. Part 2. The Patterns. At dawn on a Tuesday in January 2011, I found Ethan on the living room floor with a bin of toy cars. He'd arranged them in a perfect gradient red to orange to yellow to green, but not just any gradient. Each shade transitioned so subtly I had to squint to see the difference. "That's amazing, Ethan," I whispered. He didn't look up, just kept arranging. December came. Still no word from Rachel. I burned Christmas cookies while waiting for a call that never came. When the phone finally rang, it was Rachel. "I can't do this anymore, Mom," she said. "He's yours. I tried. I really tried, but I just can't." The line went dead. I sank to the kitchen floor with burnt cookies and smoke curling around me. Ethan appeared, brought me the yellow cup. For the first time, he looked me in the eyes, really looked at me. The years that followed were built on routine. Same breakfast, same route, same bedtime ritual where I'd say goodnight from the doorway. Slowly, he began to trust the world wouldn't change without warning. At age 8, while I made his usual eggs and toast, he asked the question that shattered me. Why did Mum leave? I nearly dropped the spatula. 3 years of silence, then this. She said she couldn't handle it, I told him. He nodded, wrote something in his notebook, went back to staring at the page. I finished breakfast, then cried in the bathroom where he couldn't hear. Part 3. The Battles. When Ethan was 9, the school tried to move him to a special needs classroom. "He doesn't participate in circle time," Principal Andrews said. "He covers his ears during music class. He needs a smaller setting." I brought binders full of proofreading comprehension tests at 97% for 7th grade level, math assessments 2 years ahead. "The problem isn't that he can't learn," I argued. The problem is that he learns differently. At the IEP meeting, I watched Ethan organize my therapy notes by date and type while the adults debated his worth. These should be sorted by date, then by type, he said. Speech, separate from occupational, separate from behavioral. He rearranged the entire section in 10 minutes, with a system I'd never thought of logical, clean, perfect. I realized then that his mind didn't need fixing. It needed protecting. By age 12, Ethan discovered coding. I found him at my old laptop staring at screens of gibberish. "What's Python?" I asked. "Programming language," he said. "I'm following a tutorial." He spent the entire summer coding while other kids were at baseball camp. By August, he was showing me programs that sorted files, found duplicates, checked modifications. "So things stay true," he explained. That phrase haunted me, so things stay true. Part 4. The system. When Ethan turned 13, he wanted to digitize all my binders. "What system?" I asked. "The one I'm building, so nothing gets lost or changed." We spent weeks scanning IEP meeting notes, therapy assessments, report cards. Every piece of paper that proved who he was and who raised him. He added layers I couldn't see. Timestamps, verification codes, hash values. Each document connects to the ones before and after it like a chain, he explained. If someone tries to change one link, the whole chain breaks. "Why would someone change them?" I asked. He looked at me. "Why did Principal Andrews try to move me when I was 9? Fair point. So this protects the truth? Yes. At 14, he started digging through old boxes in the garage tax records, utility bills, bank statements from 2010. "I need to know what really happened," he said. "Not what people say happened. What was real." We scanned grocery receipts, phone bills proving Rachel never called, calendars documenting our ordinary days. I thought he was healing from abandonment. I didn't know he was building armor for war. Part 5. The betrayal. The world noticed Ethan at 16. His document verification software sold for $3.2 million. The local news did a segment. Autistic teen creates revolutionary security software. 2 weeks later, my doorbell rang. Rachel stood there with a lawyer. She looked older. Lines around her mouth, tension in her jaw, but still put together. "Hi, Mom," she said. The lawyer introduced himself. "Stephen Walsh. We'd like to discuss custody and financial guardianship." They claimed Rachel had maintained parental rights, documented financial support, regular contact. The papers looked real official seals, notarized signatures. "Those are fake," I said. "She hasn't called in 11 years. Walsh smiled coldly. "Unless you can prove otherwise." Our lawyer, Linda Reyes, was honest. "Without proof those documents are forged, we'll lose." She never legally terminated parental rights. Courts see her as the real mother. That night I broke down at the kitchen table. "We're going to lose you," I sobbed. Ethan just went to his room. At 3 a.m., I found him at his computer. 3 monitors glowing. "Tell the truth tomorrow," he said when I asked what to do. "That's all you have to do." Part 6. The trial. The courtroom felt like a tomb. Rachel sat perfectly composed in soft grey, hair loose, looking like the concerned mother she'd never been. Walsh presented their case. Rachel Cooper, devoted mother, maintained consistent involvement despite personal challenges. He laid out the fake documents, custody papers, co-parenting agreements, financial records, all convincing, all lies. Judge Harrison reviewed them carefully. "Mrs. Cooper has been primary caregiver," she acknowledged. But without formal guardianship documentation or terminated parental rights, the mother's claim has standing. Rachel smiled slightly. She thought she'd won. Then Ethan stood. I have evidence. He pulled out a laptop. Verification of document authenticity and timeline evidence. Walsh objected. This is highly irregular. Your client presented fraudulent documents 6 weeks ago, Ethan countered calmly. I'm presenting analysis of those documents now. What followed was the most astonishing hour of my life. Ethan connected his laptop to the courtroom display and systematically destroyed Rachel's lies. Digital metadata proved all custody documents were created 6 weeks ago, right after the news story. Signature verification showed inconsistencies in pressure patterns, letter formation, spacing bank records spanning 7 years showed 0 deposits from Rachel's phone. Company records proved 0 calls after December 24th, 2010. Calendar entries, photos, therapy notes, school attendance records, all time-stamped, cross-referenced, verified. Rachel crumbled under questioning. December 2013. I was there. I know I was there. Judge Harrison's voice turned icy. Mrs. Cooper, did you or did you not falsify custody documents? Part 7. The verdict. The judge ruled from the bench. Rachel Cooper, I find your testimony not credible and your documentation fraudulent. Full custody and guardianship is awarded to Vivian Cooper. Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for investigation of perjury and fraud. Outside the courthouse, I finally understood. You knew, I said. You've been protecting us all along. Ethan nodded once. 6 months later, he couldn't work in data security due to his non-compete clause. So he started a new company software testing and quality assurance. I'm hiring people like me, he said. Autistic people. We see patterns others miss. His first hire was Stephen, my former student from 20 years ago, the boy the school board said would never hold a job. Then Marcus, then Lily. More of my former students. Kids people had given up on. I visited Ethan's office one afternoon. 6 desks, everyone wearing headphones, quiet, focused. Stephen took off his headphones. Mrs. Cooper, you told the principal I wasn't broken, just different. Ethan says the same thing. His voice cracked. I couldn't speak, just nodded. Rachel got 2 years probation and 500 hours community service at an autism resource center. 3 months in, I saw her on the floor reading to nonverbal children. She looked exhausted, humbled. The center director didn't know who I was when she said, "That volunteer comes in extra hours. Says she's learning what she should have learned years ago." I didn't speak to Rachel, just watched, then left. Some things don't need words. Part 8. The Yellow Cup. One Tuesday evening, I brought dinner to Ethan's apartment like always. His yellow cup sat on the counter chipped, but still his favorite. We ate in comfortable silence. I started clearing plates when he stopped me. Vivian. I turned. He was looking at his hands. I know what you gave up for me. I sat back down. Your friend stopped calling. You stopped going places. I heard you on the phone once, turning down a trip because you couldn't leave me. My throat tightened. You could have sent me away like she did. School suggested it. You didn't. You're my grandson, I said simply. I know, he replied. But you chose it every day, even when I couldn't say thank you. Silence. Just the hum of his refrigerator. It mattered, he said quietly. I reached across the table, put my hand near his, not touching but close. You were worth every single day, I said. He nodded once. I know that now. We finished dishes in our usual routine. I kissed the top of his head on my way out. He didn't flinch. "See you Tuesday," I said. "Tuesday," he confirmed. My phone buzzed at a red light on the drive home. A text from Ethan. "Thank you." Just those 2 words. I smiled the whole way home.